Hello world and welcome back to Let's Play Harry Potter for the PS1. Last time we completed the final battle and murdered a guy. We finally dealt with our stalker, with Stranger Danger. He's gone, it's done, and as our reward for collecting all of the cards, we have Quidditch. So here we go.
Welcome to Quidditch! I'm your commentator, Lee Jordan! The Quidditch pitch has 3 goals at each end. The chasers throw the quaffle and try to put it through the hoops to score. Watch out for the bludgers. These are charm balls that can knock you off your broomstick. 2 beaters on each team try to keep them away. For this match against Slytherin, Gryffindor once again relies on our excellent seeker, Harry Potter. Remember, when the snitch appears, it releases speed rings that will help the seeker fly faster. Here comes Potter! A glint of gold! Is that the snitch? Potter's seen the snitch! Yeah!
So here we go. So, one final game of Quidditch. As a reward for guessing all of the cards, as I said, we get to play Quidditch. So, this wasn't actually in the book. So, in the books, Harry was actually, I think, too injured or unconscious or whatever, and basically he missed the final Quidditch game, and then they lost horribly, and as a result they lost the Quidditch Cup in Harry's first year, if I remember correctly. If my Harry Potter lore is on point, my Game of Thrones lore is probably not on point, but definitely my Harry Potter lore is. So, here we go. We've just got to play one final game of Quidditch.
Here comes the Slytherin seeker!
So here we go. Phase 2 of this epic Quidditch battle. And we have to chase, we have to... So here we go. Here comes the Slytherin Seeker, and I've lost the snitch. I've lost the snitch. Okay, it's over here. So,
Potter is losing control!
I am losing control, thank you. For once, the commentary is on point. Basically, I was playing this before. I was testing this out to see what actually happened at the end of the game, because it's one of the parts of the game that I'm not super familiar with. So I was testing it out to see what happened, and I also tested to see what would happen if you basically try and lose a Quidditch game. Essentially, I was flying around for a little while and nothing was happening. Like, I wasn't getting rings,
Takes the lead!
but basically, I don't think you can actually lose this.
Getting closer!
So, yeah. Also, I found out that if you get hit by a bludger, it just simply takes away one of the counters on your bludger guards, or whatever you want to call them, the guards things. Oh, there we go. Didn't intend to demonstrate it, but I did. Also found out that if you miss the snitch in the chasing sequence, it basically results in you having to redo the whole sequence of chasing. Not the chasing sequence. If you miss the snitch in the catch mini game at the end, you basically have to redo the entire chase sequence all over again. So I really don't think there's any way you can lose this. I think you just have to win, basically. So here we go. Let's keep flying, keep on flying, and it's catching time.
Potter's going for
Here we go. Bam! We got it.
You caught it! Maximum points for Gryffindor!
Maximum points. So there we go. We have completed the last game of Quidditch. We have won the Quidditch Cup. Weirdly, even though that didn't happen in the book, a bit strange, but we've done it. So there we go. I assume we've won the Quidditch Cup. I don't know how the points work. I mean, who knows? And there we go. One final loading screen. I think, maybe, possibly not.
Harry made his way down to the end of the year feast alone that night. The Great Hall was decked out in green and silver to celebrate Slytherin winning the House Cup. When Harry entered, there was a sudden hush. He took a seat between Ron and Hermione, trying to ignore the stares of the other students. The House Cup, announced Dumbledore, is awarded to the team with the most house points. At the moment, that would seem to be Slytherin. A storm of cheering and stamping broke out from the Slytherin table. However, continued Dumbledore, in recognition of Mr. Harry Potter's pure nerve and outstanding courage, I award Gryffindor, 60 points. Harry's table erupted with cheers and applause. The additional point had won the House Cup for Gryffindor. It was the best evening of Harry's life. Better than winning at Quidditch or Christmas or knocking out mountain trolls. He would never, ever forget tonight.
So there we go, we won the House Cup. Even though we're like 1,000,000 points behind, I don't know how many points behind we are. I will probably have to calculate it at some point. I'll probably cut away here to me calculating how many points we actually have, how many points you can get. I don't think it really matters in the end. I think you always get that cutscene regardless of what you do. I think you always technically win the House Cup. Like, story-wise, but point-wise, I don't know if you can actually lose. I think it simply rebalances it. I think Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw always get the same points, which is why you'll probably notice they have so few compared to both Slytherin and Gryffindor in my game, because I've tried to get every single house point you can possibly get in this game, and I think what they've done is they've just coded it so that Slytherin basically keeps up with you. As a result, like, Gryffindor and Slytherin have way more points. They've got like 2 or 3 times as many points as Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw, so it's very strange that they've done that. I'll have to do the maths and add it in here. Like, post-commentary me is going to probably jump in right about now. Okay, future me jumping in here real quick just to say that past me forgot that we're not done with house points yet. So, I will calculate and tally them once that happens. So, I will see you in a bit to tally up those scores. So I'll pass you back to past me. And now that I've calculated all of that, I've done all that math wizardry, that is what I am. I'm a math wizard. And also extremely lame, apparently. Regardless, there we go, we have completed Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone for the PS1. It has been a bumpy ride, to say the least, because I'll just go over basically, actually first I'm going to go over how the game went. I'll come back to that in a minute about how the actual Let's Plays itself went, but I want to go over the game a bit first. I've actually really enjoyed playing it because the gameplay is actually really fun. It's very gamey. Wow, do I want to add game any more into that sentence? If I wrote that in an essay or report, someone would probably slap me about the face, but basically, the gameplay is really enjoyable because it gives you a lot of variety, it shows you a lot of different mini games, it basically encourages, well, not just encourages you, it requires you to play several different areas of the story of Harry Potter. Like, it gives you so many areas to explore from the books. So, I mean, you've got 4 major areas, but also throws in the Forbidden Forest and Diagon Alley, even though it would make sense to explore Diagon Alley in this game because you have 0 abilities. They basically took a few liberties and made it work, and I think they did an amazing job. The little bits of fluff, I can't remember the word I actually used, like the little touches they put in here and there, like the notice board, the signs in Diagon Alley, being able to slide down the banisters, these little bits of flavour that they've added to the world just makes it so much more enjoyable. And even though, as I've said, you know, the house points, I don't think it really matters how many you get, I think you still win. Past a certain point, you always win, regardless, but I'm not sure on that. But basically, I think it doesn't really matter. It just adds a bit of flavour to the world. In the long run, it just adds a bit of flavour, and I think that is truly amazing. It's really, really good gameplay-wise for what it is. It's a PS1 game based as a licensed game of a popular franchise where they released, I think, 3 or 4 versions of this, and even though people say the PC version's the best, so far, of the ones I've played, I prefer this one the best because it gives me that sense of nostalgia that I had, which I said at the beginning. It allows me to overlook a lot of the issues I have with this game. If I was to play it now, like if I just played it now, I'd look at it and go, oh my god, look at those graphics. Good lord, what is going on there? Like, just looking at Ron or some of the other characters, Hagrid, and you think, god, this game is trash, but it's just got that nostalgia touch. They put so much heart and soul into it that it's actually a really enjoyable game if you played it as a kid. And even if you play it now and just look past all of the graphics, it's just a great time, honestly. I've just seen the sound team there, and I don't want to grill them now that they've just popped up, and the music performers, because one of the things I didn't notice until I Let's Played this game is that the sound balancing in this game is kind of wonky. Basically, a lot of the sounds, like the sound effects, are not balanced to each other, and they're not balanced to the music. So things like flipendo, like saying flipendo using the spell, opening doors, certain actions like picking up keys and whatnot, it's all really, really loud compared to all the background sounds, all the ambient sounds. So you're walking to a room. If I balance this game, the audio for this game, relative to the like really loud action sounds, let's call them, it would be really quiet in a lot of places. I've had to boost the sound in a lot of places, and as a result, I've had to go through and balance nearly every single action I take in this game to make it work. And that's not even including the dialogue, which is again at a different level to some of the background sounds, and then you've got music which just blares through at some points. It just comes in so loud that it's actually deafening. Like in that final battle when the pillars broke, that is so loud compared to everything else that is happening there. So yeah, I'm not trying to grill them, but this is one of the things that I've noticed that I'm like, yeah, it's forgivable, but it's like, maybe give that another pass, possibly? Because yeah, wandering into an area and it being completely silent it's not great, but I understand they had a limited budget. They probably didn't have the employees or the budget to actually make high quality art assets, make enough music and background sounds and everything and Foley and do all that stuff for every single area of the game, so they used it sparingly, and I think they did a good job where they did use it. It's just I think it needed a little bit more time in the oven. Not like a major criticism, just needed a little bit more time in the oven, but still more than good enough. So, talking about the Let's Play itself, basically what happened was I had a few issues going on through this. So at first, I think it was late February sometime, I got COVID, and as a result, I couldn't record anything. And as a result, it sort of killed the project for a little bit. And then a lot of things happened. My brother started moving out, so the area I used to record suddenly got filled with all of his stuff that he's going to be moving out with, a load of furniture and stuff. And as a result, I had nowhere to record, which was problematic. So yeah, it made it kind of difficult to find time and place to actually record things, and it's pushed this really back. Like, I recorded a little bit between COVID and my brother moving out, and then he started moving out, so I've had to wait until he's moved out, and then I had to redecorate a room and had a bunch of other stuff happening, and it was just, yeah, it delayed it. So also this project was kind of all over the place. I didn't have the proper time to prep anything. Like, I really should have known what was happening. Like I've said, I don't know what happens with the house points throughout the entire thing. And that's because I don't. I haven't prepped. So yeah, this is one of those things that I'm really going to have to focus on in the next Let's Play, is actually prepping things properly. So yeah, that's a thing. But yeah, that's basically all I want to say about this Let's Play. Sorry that if there was like, you were like, oh, I really enjoyed getting these, you know, day after day after day after day, and then that happened. Basically, lots of stuff happened in my personal life. I didn't have time to record stuff. Wow, that's a bit of a bummer. I didn't really intend to end the Let's Play on such a kind of negative note, but on a more positive note with this Let's Play, I have learnt a lot of things about what I need to do better next time. I achieved my goal of doing thumbnails. That was my main thing I wanted to do with this Let's Play. Was the next big thing I needed to do was thumbnails. The next one, it's actually going to be properly prepping and giving myself time to do it, instead of being like, yep, it's 6 months down the line, I haven't had any time to do any Let's Playing, because I haven't left myself any time. I need to just get on and do whatever I can with what I have. So let's end off the Let's Play on that note. Let's end on a positive note of learning. Lots of things didn't go as planned, but I achieved my goals. I Let's Played a game that I've wanted to Let's Play for a long time, and I absolutely loved every second of it. And we have one final loading screen. I wonder what it's going to show, and it's...
Finally, let's see who will win this year's House Cup.
House points. Okay, I completely forgot this was here in the game, so I'm probably going to pass over to future me for this, because he'll probably have things to say about this now instead of in the credits, because I forgot about this.
Ravenclaw. Hufflepuff. Slytherin. Gryffindor. Gryffindor are in the lead on house points.
Ahoy hoy, future me jumping in here just to talk about these house points. So then, now that we have these final scores, let's have a look at exactly what house points I got throughout the game and what I've learnt about house points now that I've had time to go away, look at my own house points that I got, look at other people's house points that they got on their recordings on YouTube. So I did a little bit of research there to see what other people got. Not too deep, just enough so that I could get a general understanding of what's happening. So here we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down section by section. So every section is essentially the gap between two house point totaling scenes. That is what I'm considering the end of a section. So what I've done is I've set it up so section 0 is obviously beginning of the game, so everyone's at 0. What I've also done is I split it up by required points and optional points. So required is basically when you get points from doing any required story step or tasks. So for example, completing classes, like the flying charms, you get a few extra points for that in the ground floor. There's other sections where you're required to destroy like spider webs and push blocks so that you can get across jumping puzzles. It's things like that, basically. Any time that you're required to do something that gives you house points so that you can progress the game. Optional is basically everything else. So there's like optional spider webs in places that you don't have to destroy. There's optional blocks you don't have to move. Like, for example, picking up the candle on the ground floor, that is considered optional because you don't have to do that, but you do get points for it. So as you can see, each house has got the score that's outside of brackets. That's what they got in that section. Then the ones in the curly, like the circle curve brackets, that is their cumulative score in my playthrough. And then the square ones, that is what I could get, that I'm required to get by that point in the game. As we've been stepping through these sections, you've probably been seeing that Slytherin always seems to be in second or first, depending on how many points you get. Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw, they always seem to be competing with each other, so there's two sets. That's why I put Gryffindor and Slytherin together, and Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw, they seem to compete with each other in those two pairs. And from my research of looking at other people's gameplay, basically it's relative to how many points you get, but also there's a little bit of variance. So even if you got the same points, if you did multiple playthroughs and got the same points in each section, Slytherin, Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw would always be slightly out from what they always get. So they'll be within a range. So they'll be in a range of like 5. So maybe they'll be 2 points higher than last time, 2 points lower than this time, or less than 1, or the same, whatever. But they will be somewhere in a certain range. They always seem to get the same score, regardless of what you do. Okie dokie, with all of that being said, all that research being done, let's have a look at the final scores for my game. And I think you're going to be surprised. So, as we can see, in last place, we have Hufflepuff with 265, Ravenclaw with 286, and in third place, Gryffindor with 458, and Slytherin with 516. For anyone who can discern which number's biggest there, or the fact that I read that in winning order, you can probably tell Gryffindor did not win the House Cup. In this final scene, it does not matter how many points you have. From my understanding, it will just say you are the winner. I don't know if it boosts you, because I've seen for other people who have less points that seems to boost them more. I think what it does is boost it to the point where you cannot visually tell from the visual in the game. I have no idea who's winning that. I have no idea. It doesn't have a running total or who's winning the game. Basically, it's just, you've got X number of points, here we'll give you a bunch so it looks like you're winning. I don't know if there is a lower limit to the point where it's like, yeah, we can't give you any more points than this. It's really strange that they did this. I mean, I guess it's so they don't have to do another cutscene for the end of the game. It seems like they've done this to try and cover their backs, basically, but they didn't do a good job. If anyone was going to calculate, I mean, who else is going to calculate how many points they have? It's something only I would do, because basically they just assumed, oh, if you just give someone a load of points, they're never going to notice. They just think, oh, I must have won. I must have had just enough points to win. In actuality, Slytherin has been cheated out of the cup, not just because Dumbledore awarded Harry just a ton of points at the end of the book. Mathematically, Hogwarts does not know how to figure out which number's bigger than the other one. They'll just be like, yeah, just give it to them, why not? It doesn't matter if mathematically we're incorrect and Slytherin has won. We'll just give it to Gryffindor, because they've got the protagonist. It's so silly and dumb, but that's basically what's happened here. So on that mathematical bombshell, I think it's time to pass it back to Pass Me for his ignorant belief that Gryffindor won the House Cup. So there we go, those are the final scores and Gryffindor wins. Again, I have no idea whether that matters or not. There we go, and I think, finally, this is the last loading screen we will see. And our last chance to save. So if I save over one of my old saves, here we go. Yes, I want to overwrite that game. Saving data, thank you very much. And I believe it will allow us to see...
Harry Potter, the boy who lived.
So there we go, Harry Potter, the boy who lived, and the completion of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I know I've said that at least a couple of times already in this episode and the last one, but this is it. This is the last thing in the game. So, what I'm going to say now is thank you for joining me for Let's Play Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone for the PS1. I've been HazzD. Like, comment, subscribe, and all the other good stuff. I will see you next time for another Let's Play. So until then, I'll see you later.